It's no secret that the fighters on UFC's roster aren't paid nearly as much as they should be, and while more and more people have been bringing this up lately, boss man Dana White has absolutely no plans to change things. So in today's video, we're going to talk about how he recently shut down the idea that fighters don't get paid enough. Let's get into it. First off, Dana doesn't think his fighters are underpaid. It seems like the more people call out the UFC president, the more stubborn he gets. In a recent Q&A with GQ, Dana confirmed that he does not agree with the widespread belief that his employees are underpaid. He said that there aren't too many things to criticize the UFC for if you look at the business they've done for the last 22 years. He claimed that they have done things that have never been done before, but there's always going to be something to complain about, and fighters always going to want to make more money. Yeah, Dana, if you underpay them, they will definitely want to make more, especially when it's the fighters who make the UFC what it is. But again, he does not seem to understand this at all. He criticized boxing and said that the sport has been absolutely destroyed because of the money and all the things that go on. Oh, come on. It's not like the UFC isn't about making money at the end of the day. It's just that most of it goes into your pockets, Dana. There's nothing wrong with giving them a fair cut. Yeah, boxing structure isn't ideal either, but it's still better than the UFC. He then said that while he's here, that's never gonna happen, and that, in his opinion, these guys get what they're supposed to get. He explained that they get a percentage of the pay-per-view purchases, and the money is divided among all the fighters. Next, Dana asked people to create their own MMA organization. If there's one thing you have to admire the boss man for, it's his ability to not care about what people think of him. And it was never more apparent than what it was in his interview. He said that if you don't like the way the UFC does business, there's a very simple solution to this problem. Create your own MMA organization. White claimed that there's no barrier to entry. Flip yourself and pay them whatever you want to pay them. He then added that it's been done before, but has never worked out for the other guys, so everyone should just mind their own business. Yikes. Hey Dana, while most of us don't have the resources to start our own promotion company, that doesn't mean we can't call you out for doing something wrong. It's really astonishing to see that someone in his position would say something this arrogant and irresponsible. The least he can do is take responsibility instead of saying, hey, if you don't like it the way we do things, just go ahead and do it yourself. And obviously, Jake Paul had a response to this. As we all know, Jake's been a constant thorn in Dana's side for the last year or so, and whatever you may think about the controversial social media star, you have to admit he's in the right with this one. He's repeatedly called out the UFC president and asked him to fix the pay situation. In fact, he even promised that he'd come and fight Nate Diaz in the octagon for free if they increase the pay and give their fighters health care. As you can probably guess, that never happened. Jake quoted the viral GQ video and took some more shots at the president. He said that no sports organization pays its athletes as poorly as the UFC, and if you don't see that, you're one of Dana's sheeps. He then said that they keep talking about selling out 21 events in a row, but never about raising fighter pay, giving them health care and a fair revenue split. And honestly, he's spot on. No promotion would be anything without the fighters who put their lives on the line to entertain people, and they should be compensated accordingly. So how exactly does the UFC pay its employees? So here's the thing, the elite fighters in the promotion do pretty well for themselves. People like Conor McGregor, Israel Adesanya, Alexander Volkanovski, and Kamaru Usman don't face this problem at all. They get a percentage of pay-per-view buys, and the UFC also has a post-fight bonus structure. Plus, fighters also get paid for each bout from the UFC's apparel deal with Venom. Apart from that, it's well known that the company hands out bonuses outside fighters' contracted pay, but again, there's no system for that. They just give them out to whoever they want to. The real problem lies at the bottom tier of the pay scale. When a new fighter starts out, they'll only make $10,000 to show up and $10,000 more if they win. The rate eventually goes up from there if you do well, but it builds up fairly slowly. Now, while that isn't exactly chump change, it isn't much when you look at what other athletes get paid. Plus, if you keep in mind how expensive good trainers, gyms, doctors, and nutritionists can be, it really isn't a lot. And there's also the fact that people who have a contract with the UFC can't really go ahead and fight outside the promotion easily, so this is really their only source of income. And what about healthcare? Considering how dangerous MMA can be, you'd probably think the company would have a good plan for making sure their players get the best healthcare available, right? After all, anything can happen once you step into the octagon, but unfortunately, that's not the case at all. The UFC does not offer full-time health insurance to its fighters. Yeah, they'll pay for the treatment of fighters on the active roster who experience immediate injuries during fights or training, but there's no long-term health benefit plan, which is incredibly sinister because sometimes these problems take some time to show up. Say someone sustained an injury to the brain, and they start showing symptoms after their contract with the UFC runs out. The promotion will not help them out. And obviously, a lot of people have criticized their policy. Even huge names such as Tony Tony Ferguson and Francis Ngannou have been outspoken about the need for health insurance. But of course, Dana hasn't ever acknowledged this issue properly. And now, Dana has responded to all the criticism from the GQ video. As you can probably expect, the UFC president got a lot of backlash for saying that the pay will never be increased as long as he's here. And thankfully, he's decided to respond to that. In an interview with Yahoo Sports, he said that he was doing a fun piece for GQ, and it wasn't anything serious. He also said that it was edited and thus taken out of context. He called out ESPN and said that he doesn't know who wrote the story, but whoever was responsible for the piece is not a real journalist. He clarified that what he meant was that he would never allow the UFC pay structure to be like boxing, where shows lose money because of the large purses given to the stars, and as a result of that, more fights aren't able to be made. Dana added that he never said that he's not going to give his fighters a raise and pointed out that payment has gone through the roof since the sale in 2016, and it will continue to go up. While it's good that he's not ruling out the possibility of the situation improving, he should be more proactive about it. Because again, if you're going to lock fighters into contracts, the least you can do is compensate them enough. Or else, more and more people on the roster are going to leave and start joining other promotions. Yes, exactly like Shane Burgos. And he also addressed the Burgos situation. The featherweight contender recently left the UFC to join the PFL, and Shane told the MMA Hour that their offer was well beyond what the UFC was able to match. He also revealed that it would take multiple fights on his previous contract to equal what he'll make in one PFL bout. Plus, he also said that he'll be able to commentate over there, which is something he's always been very passionate about. When White was asked about this, he said that there was some big mistakes that were made here, and that Shane should have still been here. He added that he respects the fighter very much, and he wishes him all the best. Honestly, Dana, if people you respect are leaving your promotion for greener grass, maybe it's time to consider that you may be doing something wrong. Who knows? Maybe with time, things will get better for the fighters. All we know is that this discussion isn't going away anytime soon. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think the UFC underpays its fighters? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.